I don't. Did you? I don't know. Like, there. She's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigars.
Don't be an asshole today. I'm good. I'm good. It's so ugly outside. I can't even tell you.
Really? In London? I don't know that it could be ugly there in my head, in my brain.
It's like damp. Like you go outside and it's not raining, but you feel wet, you know? So it's like
Kind of like the way we have the humidity, but we have the heat that goes along with it,
yeah,
I guess,
exactly,
right?
exactly. But it's cold and it's so cold. I feel like all I do is hit the button on the heater, like just heat on because I can't deal with it. It's like so bad.
But it's got to be better than when it's hot in the summer, right?
Oh
It's
my God.
got to
Yeah.
be
I
that.
would a million times over, I would rather be cold than hot, without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So we have a pretty big show. We have
Wow.
Scott Lowell, who played Ted Schmidt on Queer as Folk, and we got a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
surprise for him that he doesn't know about. So we're going to
yeah.
keep that under wraps, and we're going to let Scott in and just act like everything's normal.
Ah. And here we go.
Here we go. I got my Harry Styles now. There he is.
Hello.
Hi, Scott.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
Good to see you
So
all
nice
as
to
well.
Oh, you look amazing. So good. It's the New York air, isn't it?
That's right. It's very fresh and clean, good for the pores.
Are you getting pummeled? Are you getting snow? You getting pummeled?
No, it happens so often here. They, predict it's going to be snowmageddon.
Yeah,
and it was a light dusting. I think it's mostly all gone already.
That's so funny.
They-
Not where my
Oh.
family is. My family's up in Buffalo. They're getting pummeled.
Oh.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah. I have to go to Boston tomorrow, and I'm
Oh,
not looking forward to that either. I'm sure
yeah, I saw that. They're
beaten.
getting some too. I don't even California. It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's nuts, right?
Yes.
So,
Nuts.
Scott, welcome. First of all, welcome to the Rainbow Remix, and
Thank you.
JD over there, and I'm Denise. And I want to thank you first off for doing this. Like you were so receptive, and it was so
Yeah.
quick. I was like,
Oh,
oh
my
my God, he
pleasure.
said yes. He said yes. So that is so cool. And we both watched the trailer
Yeah.
for Adoptable on YouTube, and I got to tell you, man, the trailer alone is so funny, and
Oh, thank you.
it's
Yep.
that awkward, painful funny, like that. Right up my alley, man.
That's what I like.
love
Yeah.
cringe.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're into that too. Some people like it. It gets too cringy for them, and they can't deal with it. But that's the kind of
Oh, your responses to things, I think, are like that's the relatable part. Like anybody would
Right.
have responses,
Yeah.
So, tell
I
us.
like when,
Go ahead, Jay.
I'm just going to say, when you went through that whole story about the whole experience about being adopted, and then the guy responds, I think she just wanted to know about the wedding plans. And it was
yes.
Scott, I just did you wear all the hats on this?
Not all of them, but more than I wanted to. I don't like to wear hats often at all, and I ended up wearing a lot more than I wanted to. Yeah, I wrote it. It started off, back in, I think it was 2008, actually. So it's been a very long gestation period, but I searched for my birth parents back in the late 90s. I found them, or they were found just after I moved to LA in 98. So I met them more like in 99. And I would tell the story, and a lot of what's in Adoptable is based on what actually happened. I actually had an intermediary that her name was, I won't say her actual name. Her name is close to Mary Elizabeth, which is the character that Sharon plays. And she was exactly like that. She sounded like she was out of Fargo. She just chatted, like I would call her and she would just and tell me all about her family. And told me really inappropriate things at times that were very inappropriate for me to know. And so there were all these really awkward, uncomfortable kind of things. And so I used to tell the story to friends of mine who I felt comfortable sharing it with. And a friend of mine who worked for an organization in LA called, I think it was Sparks Off Rose. It was like the Moth Story Hour, if you know what that is, where people write their personal stories and they come and tell them. And she was on me for years to write something and come and present this, in front of an audience. And I just didn't feel comfortable sharing it with the world yet. My friends, it was fine. But so I wrote it in 2008, like a 1,500 word version of my story of my search. And it just went over like gangbusters. And then I got invited to other storytelling hours and another story. And it just started to gain momentum. And everybody would ask every time, like, this is a book, this is a movie, you got to do something with this. And I sat on it for years. And back in 2012, finally, web series were just starting to become a thing. And I noticed for the first time the New York Times was reviewing them. And I thought, oh, maybe these are actually here. And I started watching some of them and I decided, this is a format that I can control. Perhaps I can film it or create it with a low enough budget that I could remain in control of it rather than hand it off to somebody else and, have them put Paul Rudd in my part or something. Paul Rudd, but, so that's where I started focusing in on this and the short form nature of it as well, too. I looked forward and I saw, people were starting to use these phone things more and more. And I thought, oh, yeah, maybe these short form episode things might actually be good for people, that they don't have to sit through a whole half hour or a whole hour or whatever. And and so I just started thinking of creating it in this form. So I finally finished writing it in about 2014 or so. And we shot it 2015 into 2016. I crowdsourced the money, crowdfunded the money for it.
I remember that. I feel like I've been on this journey.
I think you have. Well, Sharon helped a lot. I have to let the cat out of the room now. She's, of course, they come in and then they want out.
I know. My wife just went and took mine because he was meowing in the hallway. I'll get him.
But yeah, so we, I had a lot of wonderful support from people. Rosie O'Donnell even gave us some money, which was very nice. She came through with some money in the end for us. So it was just a great experience. And it was fun to be able to write as I was creating it, to get certain actors who either I knew really well that I wanted to write for.
And Gail Harold's in it.
Gail came into it.
I love the character that Noah Wiley's playing. I mean, he's just like, wow, that was genius.
He's great. It was really a lot of fun. And he's somebody, I'll be honest, when I originally started writing it, I had worked a couple of times with Jerry O'Connell.
Oh, yeah.
And so originally I wrote the character for Jerry O'Connell to play.
You see that.
And he loved it. And it was a similar kind of thing where it was a really dark version of Jerry, because Jerry is very charming. Yeah. But I wanted to tweak that image a little bit. And he really loved it. But his scheduling was so tough that we kind of finally had to say, I'm never going to shoot this thing if I keep waiting for him.
Yeah.
And I met Noah a couple of times, but I ran into him at a theater event in Los Angeles and was talking with him and was reminded how funny he is. And I don't think a lot of people know that he's funny.
Always in serious stuff. Yeah, the library.
So,
great.
Yeah. So I rewrote it for him, and fortunately he liked what I came up with. Right. And he, I will say we ended up having to shoot in two bunches. We shot a lot of it in, I think it was October into November of 2015. And then Noah was busy. So I had to wait to shoot all his scenes until January of 2016. So we'd already worked on a bunch. And he came in, and I think his first day of shooting was a scene where we were in the makeup trailer and he came in and I didn't know what to expect. And just from the first moment, he just embraced that.
Yeah, you could
If
see
I can
it.
say,
Yeah.
I don't know how PG-13 your podcast is, but he just embraced
Not at all.
what a jerk this version of him was. And
Yeah.
I think he just loved getting to be bad because he just doesn't get to be bad in that way. And
Yeah, like
so
it
wonderful.
must be a dream to be an asshole on film.
Yes.
Like
Right?
that's a beautiful thing, like to be an asshole. And
Yeah.
everyone knows you're not, and it's like this is acting.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
When your brand is one thing, to get to play against that.
Yeah.
He just ran with it and added so many things. Like he was one. I mean, I had a hard time keeping a straight face with a lot of
I would
people,
imagine.
but he was especially hard because things he would come up with that were so funny and so brilliant. But
Yeah.
I got very lucky with the cast and Sharon
Sharon
Gail.
too. Oh my God, it's so fun to see her in a funny role.
Yeah,
like, see her in a funny role. It's like it's
So
something
cool.
far past what she normally does.
I concur. And she, I tweaked the character quite a bit because, we used to play poker a lot back when we were doing Queer as Folk and even in the years since. And she would come and Sharon used to like to have a beverage or two or three at the games. And you would just wait till the evening got further on and she got a little drunker. And we could always tell. And she used to, I don't know if you remember, she used to have those big
Big
glasses
black
that made her
glasses.
look
Yeah.
like an owl.
Yeah.
And when they would start to tilt a little bit, we knew, okay, now we can go in for the kill and get some of that network TV money off of her. And but so I added all the owl stuff because of those glasses of hers. I made the character obsessed with owls just so she could wear those glasses for me.
Oh,
And then she on her own, bless her, and everyone did this. It was really, it was so touching to me. I had a hard time not getting weepy constantly on set because I didn't pay, I'll tell people, I didn't pay these people anything. Like we did this on a SAG modified budget and payment was deferred because I didn't have enough money to afford it. I mean, Emmy winning talent on my little skit.
web series.
But,
Yeah.
so everybody's working for free. But she went on her own. She bought her own costumes and she brought in her own hair person. If you look at her hairdo is like those little horns that owls have, like
flock
they
of
curl
seagulls.
up.
It was so flock of seagulls. Yeah.
Yes, she had that. She had her hair person. She said, like, make me look like an owl. She like just went bananas with it because it was such a fun character for her.
She went full owl, man.
Full
But,
owl.
she's fun like that. Like when I got to work with her, I was really nervous, like really scared. Like she had done my podcast like 2 or 3 times. And then I came to see, do an interview with her in London while she was doing Round Heeled Woman, because I had just moved here. And I knew Debbie Moss, her, the one that was the actual PA. So Debbie like just phoned me up out of the blue and said, oh my God, I got to go back to California. I got a family emergency. Can you step in and just help Sharon out? And I was like, oh my God, like do what? He was like, I'll tell you when you get here, just get here. And I was like, oh, I was thrown into it. And I was a nervous wreck. I was so afraid to like let her down. And Deb's like, you just gotta anticipate everything. And I'm like, I don't anticipate what? I don't even know. But she made it so fun. Like obviously she knew I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. And she just kind of went with it. Like, these are the times we're going to smoke. These are the times where I need you to put me away. I need you to call me a car. I need you to make a dinner. Just easy stuff. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an absolute joy. Like it was so fun. It was like getting to hang out with like your TV idol, like.
Yeah. And she doesn't make you feel like that though. She always,
not at all. Like great stories, great advice. And, like I said, just super, like at one point, Don French and Jennifer Saunders came to the play.
Wow.
And I had watched Vicar of Dibley. I'd watch Ab Fab, but when I saw them, it didn't register who they were, out of character, I guess. And then they came in the dressing room and they were all chatting away and everything. And it hit me like in that moment that it was Don French and Jennifer Saunders. And I just went, Oh my God. So as they're all leaving to go to dinner, Sharon turns around and she was like, come on, aren't you coming? And I was like, no, you guys go. Like an idiot, right? And then
Right.
so they left and I called my wife and I was like, I just turned down dinner with Don French, Jennifer Saunders, and Sharon Gless. And my wife goes, if we weren't married, I'd punch you in the face when you got home.
Were you
So
worried you
this-
just,
I would-
were you worried? Go ahead, JD, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that's something I would do. That's so something I would do. Like just
No,
not
no, you guys
grasp that
go.
rope.
Were,
Like-
were you worried you just, would you be worried you just wouldn't be able to deal with it, that you would say something stupid in front of them? What
I
were
just
you
like, I
scared of?
wasn't expecting it. And I think it was just like my immediate response, like, oh no, you guys go. You're big stars. No, I called you the car. You go. I'm good.
Right.
Like it just, yeah, I don't even know. I just clammed up like instantly, like what an idiot. I'll never have that opportunity again,
Right?
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, you do have to grab those, but I get it. I understand. And can be, yeah, it's intimidating in some ways because there's an odd blend of, because I had that for lots of times back. I was in Chicago for a decade when I started off my career, and it was 87 through 98. It was the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan years and things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. And I was obsessed with the Chicago Bulls, and I watched every single game, or I listened to it on the radio.
Yeah.
I spent therapy sessions talking about the Bulls versus the Knicks and what they represent, good versus evil. Like, I mean, they were just, I was obsessed. And shortly before I left Chicago to come to LA, I did a commercial with Michael Jordan. And I found myself, and he's, when you get Michael Jordan for a commercial, there's a guy, I called him Fake Michael. And Fakel looks like, his face doesn't exactly look like Michael, but his body, his head shape, everything about him looks exactly like Michael. So they have Fake Michael do all his blocking, like almost everything. And Michael just kind of comes in, he watches the last rehearsal, and then he just steps in and he does it, because you only have him for like an hour, 2 hours at most, and he's gone. So, but when he finally stepped into the scene with me, it was this weird feeling that, like, I knew him. I just started talking to him like I knew him, and I was such an idiot around him. He was very kind, fortunately. Just started making fun of me, which was very nice. But it was this dopey. Like, I look back, I'm like, what a dope! What was I doing?
Oh,
Treating
man.
Michael Jordan like
I
he was
like,
some dopey friend of mine.
yeah, like I hadn't been like that for the whole week, with Sharon, but then
Yeah,
Dawn and Jennifer walk in and
it seems too
clammed
much.
up. Yeah, it was too
I
Oh my
get it.
God.
exactly. It was too much star power and too small a space. I was like, nope, can't do this. But yeah, I mean, honestly, she's incredible. She's so fun. Yeah, I mean, how lucky though to have spent all that time with everybody. I think I was wondering, Scott, I used to work at a radio station in Miami, and I remember the whole cast of Queer as Folk coming in. I think it was for the season premiere of maybe the last season, and sitting with Marky G and talking. And I met everybody like super quick, but I ended up spending a little bit more time with Michelle and Sharon because they were the smokers. So I got to take them
Yes.
to the smoking area and hang out. And that's the thing about that cast, is that like I'm still friends with Michelle today. Just from swapping contact, like when we were hanging out, and Sharon, like that was how I ended up getting her for the podcast. So it just seems like those friendships are so lasting. Like like of course we all JD's watching it again. She's watching the
Oh God.
whole thing of
I
Queer
watch
Folk
it
again.
like it's happening now. Like I binge it. You're my friends inside the TV. That's
Yeah.
what I say.
Yeah, exactly.
My friends.
That's
in the
where we
TV
live,
room.
JD.
Yeah.
We've gotten skinnier and skinnier over the years as the TVs have gotten skinnier. But yes, we live inside your TV.
That's a good
We
thing.
hang out
'cause
there.
it used to be bigger,
Yeah.
right? The camera adds 10 pounds.
Yes.
You don't, now you're on a cell phone.
You
That's right.
still live on that main street downtown with all the bars and
Exactly right. We're still on Liberty Avenue,
Liberty
all
Avenue.
hanging out.
Still go to the
That's
diner.
right.
I just did a
That's right.
project with Taya. I did a cartoon project with her. I did like a
great.
voiceover thing, and her character the cartoon of her looked just like her. It was amazing.
Looked like her.
Yeah, and I played like an Eastern European heavyset building manager. So it didn't look anything like me, but hers was like a queen. But it was really cute.
That's funny.
So it was fun.
Well, that seems fitting, because we used to say Taya is somebody like you could not take a bad Polaroid of like any angle of a camera. Like she is a stunningly beautiful woman. However you film her, so it seems appropriate that a cartoon version of her would be gorgeous as well.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
It's
So
very
it was,
effortless.
that was pretty fun. It's just the connection is so deep with everybody, it seems.
It was a very unique. I mean, I know there's lots of casts, and you see, I just finished watching the SAG Awards, and you see these casts, and but there was something very extra special, unique about our situation, that first of all, so many of us, it was our first series, other than Sharon, and I mean, Hal Sparks had done Talk Soup as a series, but he hadn't done he hadn't done something. He hadn't really done something with a cast. So we were all pretty new. Well, the majority of us were all theater people too. We all came from theater backgrounds, and then we got shipped off to Toronto. And so we were away from kind of our homes. We were away from our friends, from our families. And we were in this little bubble up there, and we were asked to do things no other television cast had been asked to do before for an extended period of time. I mean, there's always been, yes, exactly. I mean, there's, doing a nude scene or having, a sex scene or something, in a film, that's one thing, but to do it for 5 years in a row, I mean, I know 130 something episodes. I can't remember what it is, it's a lot of we got to know each other very well. And
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, it's intimate, boy. When that script shows up and you're like, oh man, I gotta suck a dick again.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. And for me too, because poor Ted, every week it was like, what new humiliation is he going to face? So it's
I know, but
it was very much like, oh, God.
Yeah, but he was so lovable.
But that really
Ted. I can relate to Ted.
Yes, I think a lot of people. I could as well, JD. When I read the first scripts, I was like, all right. Sadly, I understand this guy.
Yeah, it's so true. He was, he was like everybody's favorite little sad sack,
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah, I mean, they're all very universal types in their way, except Brian. I mean, I think there are some guys out there that like to say, "Oh, I'm Brian." You're not Brian.
No,
but
same thing with the girls, though.
Yeah.
Brian is the Shane of the L word.
Exactly.
Right? Like Brian is the Shane of the L word. So we have the lesbians that are just like that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. But I think because it was so groundbreaking too, and you guys were all in it when that burst, when it burst on the scene. So you were all going through that together at the same time. And, there's got to be some little link there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there is, no other group of people knows what it's like to go through what we went through than we do.
Right.
So we have that experience. And, when you talk about the story of down in Miami and you meet Michelle and like wherever we would go, I think we were all continuously touched, impressed, and amazed by how much the show meant to people.
Yeah.
And so it really made us want to connect with people. It was hard to not, when someone comes up to you and says, this show saved me, or it changed my life, or, what you gave me the courage to come out, whatever it was, or you gave me community. It's hard to go like, yeah, I got to get in my limo. See you later. You want to, you really want to talk and connect to people. And Sharon, I'll speak for her a little bit. I know that playing that character, especially, I don't know that I don't think she was involved with PFLAG before. I mean, I know she always, especially because Cagney and Lacey had a deep connection with the LGBTQ community, but her role of playing Debbie and playing that mom, she took that mantle on in everyday life too. You know, she wanted to
I
be
saw it every night. I saw it every night.
gay
every
kid's
episode.
mom. Yeah, yeah. And she took that responsibility seriously. And I think we all did, because the show, especially, again, look, this is 20 something years ago. This is back in 2000, you know, coming out of Clinton and going into Bush, and things
Yeah.
were not great, you know, and I know for me, I mean, it gave me a political platform. My sister is gay, and so it's something that's been important to me, but it really became, you know, being an ally has, you know, become my life's calling in some ways because of the show, and
Right.
because
Wow.
it gave me that platform to speak out about these things.
Yeah. And you guys were everywhere at like
yeah.
New York City Pride, San Francisco Pride, you know, like you were out there in the thick of it, you know, with your people, with the people.
Well, and
It's
because there was
amazing.
nothing else at the time too. I mean, this
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there was no other show speaking to the issues that we were.
Exactly.
And so we felt a great sense of responsibility to not only on camera get things right. And this goes to Dan Littman and Ron Cowan, who created the show and wrote it. You know, they did as well. We would all, I mean, the collaboration on that show, as far as us all coming together, wanting to get it right, realizing the importance of the show while still having a whole lot of fun. I mean, it was, you know, at its core, a fun soap opera in a lot of ways, but we also knew the things we were talking about were not being talked about yet and needed to be addressed for the gay community as well as the country as a whole. And so we felt that responsibility. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I was one of those people that you guys helped, because I was not out yet when that show was on. And I was playing Pride Fests with my band, and I was still in the closet. I was still married to a man, and I'd be sitting there watching the show with him. And, you know, it absolutely was a great catalyst to being okay to come out. So I was one of those people that you helped. So thank you.
That's great to hear. No, thank you for saying that, and congratulations. You know,
we used to have JD on my other podcast, and we would tell her, look, when the time is right and you're going to make an announcement about anything, you do it here.
That's right.
And I did.
You did. I know. We chased her down to her house after.
That's amazing.
Recording.
Yeah.
Were there people?
Moved to my place.
Were there people in your life who learned of it from the podcast who you hadn't told yet in real life, JD?
From this podcast, I came out
ours.
like, I thought I came out when I came out. I don't know, what is it now? About 6 years, 5-6 years, only really out. But everyone else knew. That's what's the funny thing is, we talked about that. Like, you think people don't know. They were just waiting for me to say it, you know? So I've been divorced 12, 13 years. So, in 3 years before that, separated. So it was like everyone knew. They knew I had girlfriends that were my friends, you know, but you think people don't know, and they know, and they're not really as surprised, right? Right. Well, you weren't really, Denise, because you were waiting for me to say it on the show.
Waiting for you. Yep. I was.
She wanted the exclusive.
I wanted the scoop, man.
I gave him the scoop.
But we were friends for so long. We always went to go, you know, me and my other co-hosts, we would go see JD play all the time. And we would host at Pride, and we would introduce her, still not knowing if she was or wasn't, you know, and she was at Pride Fest. So we just kind of went on the assumption that eventually she was going.
When she was ready. Yeah.
When she
was ready.
I would try to entice her, like, have a couple of drinks.
And then when no one's shocked when you finally make the announcement, it's a little lackluster, but it was funny. There were a few people that were people that were shocked than people that were not shocked. But
that's probably a good thing. Like, I think I was the same way. I was married to a man too, and when I came out, my ex-mother-in-law said, I kind of thought so, because you were always wearing my son's clothes. did wear his Pittsburgh Steelers jersey a lot. Yeah, so
That's a giveaway.
yeah, not a huge amount of surprise, but
Surprise there.
you gotta do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
That seems to be the case. My sister was in a relationship like that with a woman who was married for a long, long time, and they lived this double life. When they, were in the city they were in, they were just best girlfriends, and they would go on trips together and things like that. And when they were out of town, they had rings. They had they were full on couple. Like everyone out of town knew them as this couple, but back in the city where they lived, because she had kids and she wasn't ready to come out. And yeah, I think when eventually she did, it was like, everyone's like, well, why did you wait?
Did you always know? Did you?
For my sister?
Yeah.
I didn't. Well, she came out to us when she was in college. And
hold on one second, Scott.
Sure.
There's someone popping on here really quick.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see how this goes. Oh! Scotty, look who we may come see.
Hello, my dame.
Surprise!
Hello, my dame.
Hello, my squire.
How are you?
I was supposed to surprise you, but you surprised me.
Yeah.
Hi, Annie.
How did that work? Did you just were coming on? Someone's gonna be here you didn't know?
No.
I knew it was going to be you, but I thought I was going to be sitting here waiting, and then they'd say, "And now here comes your surprise." And instead, I'm sitting here, and you say, "Hello, my dame."
Well, I'm still surprised.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm good.
It's so good to see you. This is my co-host JD. She's in Florida.
Hi.
Hi, JD.
So
I'm
nice
in
to-
Florida too.
She's
Oh,
in Florida.
You know what? I just saw you at the Barry Manilow concert. I was in the audience when they announced you were there.
Oh, wasn't it sweet of him?
That was so nice. That was so cool.
I know. He's a good friend. He's a wonderful artist.
Oh, he's amazing.
But enough about me. How about Scott Lowell?
How about Scott Lowell with his
How about Scott
Adoptable
Lowell?
series? We were talking about
Oh my
how
God,
funny
so
your
good.
character is. Your character, the owl hair, the glasses.
Oh, that- all the
Scotty
extra-
wrote all of that.
And
Oh,
you made
Scotty
it
wrote
work.
all of that. It's such a good idea.
it is. It's so funny. I was telling him I watched the trailer and I send it to everybody because I like cringy, awkward, funny. So I send that to people. I'm like, you got to watch this. It's hilarious. I love how uncomfortable he is all the time.
I know.
Talking to you. Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good. And I really hope it does so well. And Sharon, my God, right now, I just heard that you got nominated for an Audie.
Wow.
And for people that don't know, that's for from Audible. For
Yeah, it's not the
narration.
auto. It's not the car award.
You don't
It's
get
a-
free car.
Audie.
Yeah, I don't get a free
is-
card. Damn. That's right. It's for I forget how it's called. The best reader, the best
Narration.
audio book by the author.
Author, right? Which, even though I read the hard copy, book, I had to go do the Audible because that just brings it all home.
Yep.
Like it was.
So I was so surprised, and I'm really with some heavy hitters. Really heavy hitters.
Yeah, amazing.
But it's really nice. I know it sounds corny, but it's so nice to be nominated. But it is. It's an arena that I've never ventured into before.
right.
And I mean, the book took me 7 years to write. To record it took me like a month or 2 weeks.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, the book was amazing. It was raw and honest, and for me, I felt like I could hear you, because even some of the stories I remember, you sharing some of the stories, and it was just I was so proud, like,
Nice of you.
proud.
Yeah,
Oh,
even
yeah.
I mean,
But,
even
but,
in
but we're here to honor Scotty. I
Yeah.
don't,
no, I want to talk about the book too, because I think to Denise's point, like the book is written so well in your voice, Sharon, that
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
thank
even
you.
as you read it, it's like you hear your voice in our head anyway. So it must have made the recording of it so much easier for you because it's just
It
you
did.
telling these stories. Yeah. And I think that's awesome. I would only recommend you learn the name of what it is you're nominated for before you accept the
I
award when you
think
win
you're
it.
right.
See,
I can't remember
That's
the
my
actual
only
name.
note. It's my only note.
I just need to know if there's going to be a ceremony. Is it going to be just an audio thing?
No, and I can only bring like one person, and I understand that if I win, I don't get the award. The award goes to the publisher. What's that about?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But that
Oh.
may have just been a filthy rumor. Um,
That's funny. And I just got to say real quick, you were just on station 19.
I was Peter
Correct.
Page, our cohort. Scotty's in my
Oh.
cohort. Directed it and produced it.
Oh man.
How
And
was that?
Oh,
that's a
It
great
was fun.
show.
I had a good time.
That's a
What did
Shonda
you get
show,
to
man.
what did you get to do?
That's what I heard. Apparently, no one's ever met her. She doesn't show up But yeah, it's another one of her hits.
I got, because we're so far behind here in the UK. So I ended up having to see
Well, I'm
like
almost there.
what do you
I'm
mean?
coming to the UK.
When?
I'm for my 80th birthday. Let it be known.
So in
oh.
I'm
20 years?
Yeah, that's Scotty. I love you so much. I'm going to get on the Queen Mary 2,
Oh,
and I'm going to cross
wow.
the Atlantic.
What
And
a
on my
great
80th
way to
birthday, I'm going to
come.
be on the ship when I turn 80.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
It was my dream. It's from a
Awesome.
past life. It's some past life that's haunting me, that I have to cross the Atlantic on the Queen Mary.
Oh my
Were there any
Wow.
icebergs in this dream you had
Well,
before? Were there
I picked a time of year, Scotty. I picked a time of year where it's a little more favorable.
Smart. That would be in the back of my mind. I'm not gonna lie. That would be in the back of my
Yeah.
mind. I don't even like flying over it, but you got to do
I
it.
know. Hey,
Wow.
so that's
That's-
what I'm going to do, and I'm landing in England.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
That's so
That is
exciting.
in the Hampton, doesn't it? To come in one like Hampton.
Yeah, something like that. It's not London. I thought, but yeah.
Yeah.
And Barney,
beautiful.
my husband, I don't want him to go with me because he hates to cruise. And so my best friend Dawn is going to escort me.
Oh,
how
And
fun.
Barney and Dawn's partner are going to meet us on the other end. And I demand flowers in Barney's arms as I disembark.
I love it.
I love that.
It's all part of my
Love it.
thing,
It's
all part of my story.
This has got a lot of planning involved. I love this.
Isn't that good?
What a
My
ceremony.
God, can I bring you anything from Costco?
Um, that's right. We did that. That was fun, wasn't
That
it?
was fun.
Didn't I introduce you to Costco? Come on.
Yes. No, she actually did. And yeah, Sharon, I'm going to tell you right now, if it weren't for you, we would never have jumbo paper towels in my home.
See?
I
See?
I
She
found
She
you
I
go.
gives
found
and she
American
gives and
things.
she gives.
Yeah,
She
I found
did.
American things. I get it shipping every week now. I'm like, yeah, I can't even. It's fantastic. But yeah, that was fun.
Well, I
But
love,
did.
some people talk about like, make your dreams come true. Sharon Gless stage manages to make sure her dream literally comes true. Flowers
right.
at the dock.
Orchestrates
I know.
it.
Yeah,
A safe
Yeah.
crossing.
yeah. Oh, definitely.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And I want Scotty's series to sell and become a long-running series because I think it's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Scott,
So we can make
I
some
need
more.
to ask you this. At the beginning of, I think it's episode 1, there's some stuff in there about like, it says something about lawsuits and is that fake?
That's fake. So
Oh.
yeah, and Sharon doesn't. Oh, and I should tell you this too, Sharon, because Sharon gave me a great note years ago that I wasn't able to implement, but I finally implemented for when we put it on YouTube. Yeah, we finished the show filming it 7 years ago now. I don't know if you're aware, but like since 2016, a lot of things have gone on in the world,
A little bit.
and things have changed.
So I understand.
Yeah.
Things have changed quite a bit, and I had some concerns that some of the humor in it, especially while they were cringy funny back in 2016, now after the Me Too movement and a number of other things, they might,
Okay.
people like if they thought we filmed it yesterday, they'd say that guy wouldn't get away with it. Like Noah would have been in jail, you know, people wouldn't have gotten away with saying some of the things they did. So I wanted to make it clear to people that we made this back in 2016. And because it's a fake documentary, I thought I'd start it off with some title cards explaining in a fake way why we had to delay it. So I said, you know, that, you know, we filmed this documentary was filmed for the TBT network, which is what Cops and Bottoms is on, back in 2016. And a couple of the people in the documentary sued to have it, to prevent from having it be seen by the public, and all these lawsuits and changing some lawyers. And then
training was the best.
yeah. So I just wanted people to know that, you know, this is from 2016, so they could watch it with that mindset. But at the end of the first episode, we first meet Sharon's character on the phone, and when I'm trying to fax her something, and she lets me know very unceremoniously that, you know, my character was almost aborted, and Sharon had said she watched, she's like, I can't understand what I'm saying. I don't know if it's my accent, I can't understand. So I added in, Sharon, now there's subtitles now for your phone call, so people will be 100% clear.
Oh, that's great.
What you're saying.
So they don't know what I'm saying. I worked so hard on that accent.
Exactly. It's great. But we have some great bloopers that we'll put up a blooper reel later, some very funny bloopers of Sharon because again, we had no big budget, so we couldn't afford to like have Sharon do some recording afterwards. We had to actually have her on the phone when we were doing that scene. So I would have to dial it, and it's all, you know, shot documentary style with the camera. It has to be live and happening. So I would dial Sharon and put her on speakerphone, and we kept getting her answering machine for some reason. Forgot to turn her phone
That's
on.
right.
Oh, that's
right.
And then she finally got on, and she stopped herself in the middle of a take because she didn't like her accent. So we have some very funny bloopers of Sharon just from the phone.
I live for
You're so patient, Scotty. Such a talent. You are, Annie.
It was
And what's with the mustache and the beard? You're looking like Barney.
I'm trying.
Barney's
Well,
my
that's what I was going for. I kind of, you know, I've always admired
wanted to look like
Barney Rosenzweig. Yes.
He scares
I don't
me.
know.
He scares
Did
me.
he?
When he came to town, yeah. When he came to town, I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this. And I was like, oh, Deb, I don't know what to do. I gotta call Deb. I don't know how to do this. So yeah, I was a nervous wreck when Barney came to town.
He used to be referred to as the 800-pound gorilla.
But no, honestly, when we met prior and we were having a conversation at the Rathbone, I think, and afterward, when we came back into the lobby, Barney was there, and you introduced me, and we had a really good conversation. He's great.
See, he's not scary.
Well, yeah. No, I think it was like
he's very powerful in presence, but I mean, he's also very kind, and he loves women.
Yeah,
he created that Katie and Lacey.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, it was good.
One of the greatest storytellers. I still, you know, we were fortunate to go on a trip to Venice, Italy through a friend of ours for about 10 days.
Oh, didn't we have fun?
Oh, and it was this remains like one of the greatest vacations I've ever taken. But
yeah.
I have so many memories of just being at the dinner table and Barney just regaling us for hours with these stories. He's just, one of the most remarkable storytellers I know.
And Scotty recorded a lot of that trip. Remember Scotty?
Yes. There is video somewhere in my vaults of Sharon prancing through the plow.
He's so clever. When we were on Queer as Folk, each of us had like a day with Debbie or a day with Scotty, a day with Sharon, and they photographed it like a little documentary. And Scotty's was hysterical. Hysterical. I can't describe, but it was it was all lies, but it was brilliant. It was just brilliant.
That's
I
a
could
fun
like
idea.
they all did a really good job for Showtime of like day in the life of Sharon Gless, and here I am waking up, and here I am at the makeup trailer, and here's me
Yeah,
preparing for my scenes, and they were all being wonderfully charming, serious actors, and I just couldn't do it. So yeah, I just
Oh
played
God, you were so funny.
what I did with Noah. I played myself as this really egotistical idiot who like pretended he knew all the crew people's names, but he didn't. He got all their names
And he
wrong.
got the names all wrong. He acted like they were his best friend and he had the names all wrong.
I
Oh
made
my
the
God.
crew. Nobody could look me in the eye. So the makeup crew, and I remember Stephen Lynch, the makeup artist, wore like sunglasses so that he could get away with looking me in the mirror at least and looking me.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God, that's
yeah, I just played him
brilliant.
as a jerk. That was a lot of fun. We had a
See?
good time. It was a great combination of people we had. We were very fortunate.
We had a conversation about how fun it must be to play an asshole. Like
Yeah.
just play an asshole when you're branded as someone who's so nice, and you're always in these roles that are like, the audience loves you, but to get to play an asshole has got to be a dream.
Well, I
you played a
love
few
See,
baddies, Karen.
Scotty's character was not an asshole. Scotty's character, Scotty personally is an asshole. Yes.
That's right.
Scotty's
That's right.
but Scotty's character was the sweetheart.
Right. That's what makes it
Sharon,
great.
you played a bunch of bad people. Do you enjoy playing the baddies more than the goodies?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sometimes. I mean, I sometimes play nice people who have a bad attitude.
True.
I
Even
loved
Chris
you on
Pete-
Nip and Tuck. Nip
Nip
and
tuck,
Tuck.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved you. I watched the whole. I ended up binging the entire Nip and Tuck seasons because of the one you were on, the season you were on, because I
Oh my
loved
God.
that character. And then I just loved that
The
character.
producer said it was the like the worst person he'd ever written. That
What an
that
honor.
character. I know.
That's
I
an
forget his
honor.
name. He's very famous.
Ryan Murphy.
But yeah, that was fun. I got
Yeah.
nominated for that.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah,
Ryan Murphy,
yeah.
wasn't it? Jeez. I
Ryan
just
Murphy, right?
Yeah.
He told me it was the worst person he's ever written.
You played her deliciously.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah. But
Deliciously.
I watched this clip from Station 19, and you're with Sherry Belafonte and Jenny O'Hara, and you're trying
That's
to
right.
get the firemen to take their shirts off, and I'm like, this is great.
I know.
Fantastic. So yeah,
Well, I didn't write it. I just got to play it.
that's fun though. Yeah, wow. Like to
Yeah.
add a Shonda, a Shonda thing to your credits that's
right.
fantastic.
That's right. I didn't even realize when I accepted it that it was one of hers.
Yeah.
But Peter is obviously a very close friend of all of ours.
Yeah. Oh,
And
he's so good.
so when he called and asked me if I'd come and do it, I said sure. I was very nervous because it was Peter
Really?
Page.
Did that
Yeah.
make it
Well, because I
harder?
know him, he's my friend.
Yeah.
Did it- Did it make
Aw.
it harder once you were there, or was it easier?
Well, he's my friend. So
Yeah.
it was he's a wonderful director, and I could see in my peripheral. Sometimes I'd watch him in between even while I was shooting, I could see him, and I could see him laughing while I was doing it. So it made me happy,
That's good. Yeah, you want to do
But
well,
because it's
obviously.
Peter, obviously I wanted to please him,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw
I
him.
didn't want him to think she was good as Debbie, but she sucks as this character.
Look, Debbie's so lovable, honestly. And we were just
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
Scott was saying how people would always come up, and thank you guys for, being this groundbreaking show and helping them
Yeah.
cope and helping them come out. And I said, every night when you finished A Round-Heeled Woman and you would go and talk to everybody that was waiting, and she would always say to me, if I give you a look, come and get me. Never gave me a look. Never gave me a look,
Aw.
and would talk to every last person until that lobby was empty, signing, and I could see them. They would, they would tell you these stories, and it was so emotional. And it was every night after you being on stage for 90 minutes, no break, never coming off the stage, but I mean,
Denise, I have to tell you, I
incredible.
come from gratitude.
Oh,
I come from gratitude every time I get to work. And so if the fans show up at the stage door, of course I give them
oh,
time, I'm still wound
That's
up anyway when
awesome.
I'm working.
I know, but I mean, hugging and listening to some stories were so heartbreaking, and
I
the
know.
Mhm.
other ones are just like, other ones are so sweet, and it's just,
Yeah.
it was every night was so emotional. It was like, first I
Well, it was
cried
before
watching the
COVID,
play.
so we were
and
more.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was really, I would cry at a couple of scenes in the play. And then afterwards, I would cry watching these people with you.
Oh, honey.
I would go
Why
home pissed
Denise
Aw.
cry?
every night. But
Poor
it
Denise.
Were
was
wonderful. It was so
amazing.
nice having you there helping me.
Oh God, please. I was telling Scott, I was a nervous wreck. I didn't know what I was doing, but you made it so that it didn't matter. And that was incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Just very, I was telling them that Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders came. And I had just learned, I had just moved to England, but I knew who they were. It didn't register while you guys were all standing there talking. It didn't register.
That was before we moved into the West End. That was at
Right. That was at Riverside.
Riverside.
Yes.
And the doctor was taking up my contacts because I had to wear contacts and I
Yeah.
don't know how to put them in myself. And the doctor was taking them out and I didn't recognize. They were standing at the door and I thought, well, that's nice. Okay. Hi. They took out before he took out the contacts. That's right.
Right.
And-
And this, yeah, it was like this whoop. And
Oh my God, to see them. I was so nervous.
Oh, are you
And then we
kidding
went
me?
out to dinner and I didn't know what to say. I mean, you know,
I just- I
and
couldn't believe
Scotty
it.
knows because he's the same. I'll do anything in character. So will Scotty. But in person, I'm shy sometimes, and
But here I'm
that
thinking,
was a lot of power.
yeah, that's what I said. Because when you guys were getting in the car and you turned around and said, "Aren't you coming?" And I said, "No, you guys go ahead, have a good time, bye."
That's right.
And I called my wife and I said, Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders were just here. And I said no to dinner. And she was like, "If we weren't married, I'd punch you in the face right now." Like, I wouldn't come in my pajamas. Like, what's wrong? I'm like, it was too much. I was so overwhelmed. I couldn't. It was just instinctive to say, no, you go. I couldn't. But
I
yeah,
know.
it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a super fun time. I really hope that you have a good time when you come on your Queen Mary. And I
Me
mean,
too.
a lot of places didn't
Awesome.
reopen, it's
I haven't been back in many years, but
yeah, it's different. Like
I
a lot
have
of
friends that
places.
I've worked with there, Billy Patterson, with whom I did Misery, and Tom Conti, with
Oh
whom I
yeah,
did chapter 2,
yep.
and some of my friends from Round-Heeled Woman.
Oh God, what a cast!
I hope I have time to see everybody.
Yeah, I still follow Beth accordingly a little bit on Facebook and,
Do
and
you?
catch up with her every
Oh,
now
I
and then.
love that.
And of course,
And I'm
Daniel.
gonna see Maureen Stapleton.
Oh yeah,
Maureen Stapleton now is she's a dame. She's
yeah,
a real dame,
yeah.
Scotty.
A real
What?
thing.
Yeah, she got knighted.
Wow.
So I call her Dame
Wow.
Mo.
Dame Mo.
Dame
Dame
Mo.
Mo. Yeah.
That's great. And I
Not
have,
Maureen Stapleton. I mean, I'm sorry, Maureen Lipman. Not Maureen
Oh.
Stapleton. Sorry, Maureen
gonna say.
Stapleton has left us a long time ago.
Yes,
Um,
she's being
yeah.
knighted
No,
up.
Maureen Lipman. Sorry.
Yeah.
post ominous. You never know.
Oh,
You
she's
never know.
getting old, Sharon.
It's a whole different world now. We've got King Charles, and
You know.
it's
Yeah.
Is he being knighted in May? Is that correct?
his coronation.
He's being
is in-
not knighted. He's being crowned in
yeah,
May.
the big
Knighting would be demoting him. So I think yeah.
Knighted. Yes,
I was
exactly.
thinking
You're so
that,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to
amazing.
keep up.
it's amazing. You know,
I met him. I met him and Diana.
what?
Really?
The last night they were ever
Wow.
in public together. The next morning, the prime minister announced their separation.
Are you kidding?
Because
I
of,
have a picture of it.
was it because of you?
I w-
Well, I have to tell you, he did lean in. I'm telling you the truth. I watched him. You're never supposed to look at them when they're coming down the line, but I, of course, was looking at him the whole time. And he leaned in and whispered in my ear, "I'm a great fan of yours."
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
I want to
Wow.
write him a letter now
yeah,
saying, "Your Royal Highness, and I am a great fan of yours
of
too."
yours. yeah,
Right.
it's gonna be like crazy. I'm just
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
you know, they keep letting little dribs and drabs out about what's going on. But yeah, I think it's
No, I
gonna
think
a
it'll
big
be
deal.
really major. I'm glad that he gets a chance before he's too old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He
Exactly.
waited
When
a
is-
long time.
When is it happening? Is it happening when you're there? Maybe you could go.
It's in May.
I think it's
Yeah.
right after I get there because my birthday is May 31st and I turn 80 on the ship.
Oh,
So he'll already have been in power by the time I get there.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So maybe he'll be too busy to see me.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell
He's
I
him.
don't know.
And, and
I'm being funny.
I'll tell him. When I see him, I'll let him know. Sharon said,
let
hey,
him know. Is he 6 degrees from you or 5 degrees from you?
No,
Denise,
not-
everyone's
no,
5
Jay.
degrees from you.
no, but
Sorry.
Harry is. I went to the Olympics and sat like across from Prince Harry.
You
And
did?
yeah, like it was
I
incredible.
haven't read his book.
Oh, I have.
Have you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it true? Is it good? Is it?
I feel like it was, I feel like it was. I feel like those boys never got the help that they needed after Diana died. And William
Right.
accepted it and accepted all the, everything that comes with it. And I think Harry wanted the help, and he couldn't get it. And he, maybe he spiraled a little bit, but he just wants you see it, it's on the page, like you feel it, like he just wanted acceptance for him and his wife. And it's heartbreaking. It really is, but it's definitely a good read. I will bring that on the boat.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you know I'm taking a picture of my grandmother? If you read my book, it's my grandmother's very powerful in it. And I'm taking a picture of her in her furs on the original QE, on the original Queen, what is it? The from the
QE.
original Queen Mary.
Oh,
Queen
it
Mary.
is. Wow.
Right.
That's
Well, what's the one
layered.
that during the war,
Yeah. That
Queen Mary?
Queen Mary. Well, there's the one
Right.
that's in dry dock in Long Beach. Which one is
That's
that?
the Queen Mary, the original, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
this is the QE2.
So it's the QE2 you're taking?
They call it the Queen Mary too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Queen Mary 2.
Yeah.
But
It's-
so is there a
The
picture of
the
your
one that was in the 40s, the one that was
right.
built in the
Mhm.
20s and people, the big people were on it in the 40s, and it housed all the soldiers during the war.
Yes.
I remember, and so when they brought it in to dry dock, when they brought it in to retire into Long Beach, really? Okay.
Long Beach.
Yeah.
I was old enough to remember her contribution, and I cried when she was brought in. I thought, really, Long Beach, after all you've done.
Aw.
But my grandmother, picture my grandmother on that ship with her
Oh, she's on the-
furs and all that. Those
Oh.
days, that's how they
Mhm.
dressed,
Oh,
with their
wow.
alligator bags.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm taking that picture with me in my
That's
That's
suite.
beautiful.
beautiful. It's
You should
beautiful.
Nice
reenact that.
idea.
You should reenact that picture
Yeah.
on the boat you're on.
Yeah, some
Oh,
black tie night.
Yes.
They have black tie nights and masquerade nights. So I'm going to take a mask and
Oh my God. This is gonna
I'm
be
going to
so
do it. I'm
nice.
going to do it
Cool.
like it was the 40s.
Perfect.
I'm gonna need
am.
Dawn to take some footage.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
this is Dawn's computer.
I saw the
You know
name
that?
come up and I was like,
Is
oh,
she there?
Right.
Ah.
She's somewhere. We're in a fat farm.
what?
Oh.
She would say it was a spa. I call it a fat farm. we're in a spa together. And yes, and so she's, you know, a big businesswoman and always having meetings on her computer. So she let me borrow it to say hi to Scotty and surprise him.
Oh, that's so sweet. We'll
Oh,
say
you
hi to
know,
Aw.
this
you.
is so fantastic. I'm gonna let you guys both go, but
Yeah.
I am so
Nice to
thrilled that
meet
we
you,
were able to do
JD.
this.
Yes,
Same.
And nice to
Thank
see
you
you
so
again,
much,
Denise.
guys, for
It's so
being on
good
the
to see you,
show.
Karen.
Thank you.
It's
And I love you, my
Yeah.
squire.
I love you too, my dame.
Uh,
Thank you so much. This was a great surprise. I was going to call you right after to say, guess who I just talked to? And now I don't have to do that. I've been thinking about you a lot lately, so it's really lovely to see your face.
Thank
Aw.
you, honey. I love you. And thank you,
I love you
Denise.
too.
What a treat to see you again.
You too, honey. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. And thank
Oh,
Don for setting this
always.
up. Thank you.
Yes.
Always for that guy.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys. Thanks again.
Bye. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch.
Like never stop
That's
chasing your
true.
dreams.
And I confess,
See?
my addiction
See?
is you.
We drank way too
Don't
much
ask me
whiskey.
why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you. And as I come in through the door, I see her dancing on the floor beside you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You look at me and in my eyes you see the hurt I can't disguise. I watch you, and though it seems I look right through, I'm noticing your every move. She's got you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You're my addiction. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. I turn away to mask the pain, but jealousy reveals my rage and madness. And knowing you can read my mind consumes me in a shameful kind of sadness. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You are my drug, my ever waking need. I got you in my blood. You've got me on my knees. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I